So one of the biggest reasons why people are in the crypto space is to create generational wealth, to become a millionaire. And the big thing is, the big question is can Cardano make people millionaires? And the answer is yes. And it's a little more nuanced than that because we have to look at Cardano, we have to look at ADA. They are two separate things, and maybe some people don't even realize this, but we're going to have a discussion about that in this video, as well as something that people are overlooking in a big way when it comes to ADA that will in fact lead to a major boom. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell again. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So ADA itself is an asset. It's the gas token for the Cardano ecosystem. Cardano is the blockchain itself. And when we look at ADA right now, we've talked about price projections for this market cycle many times before. You know, some people say it's going to do bad. It's not even going to hit a new all-time high, which the all-time high is just over $3. Me personally, you know, my projections have stayed very consistent between that $7 to $15 ADA. If we get a super cycle or a major ecosystem adoption when it comes to Cardano, we could potentially see ADA pushing above $20, which would be a very exciting sign. I'm not saying that's going to happen, so don't put words in my mouth. Just we have to be patient and let this cycle play out and see where things take us. But you guys can do the math. You know, if you have $100,000 worth of ADA right now and it does a 10x to about $7, that makes you an ADA millionaire, which is a very exciting sign. And I think that something people are overlooking that hasn't really made a huge impact yet is ADA supply. So right now we're about 64 cents, and that's actually important. And I'll get to this in just a moment. Something that people overlook in a big way, and they're maybe not familiar with tokenomics, not familiar with why this is in fact such a big deal, but there have been billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of ADA removed from exchanges since all the way back in 2021. Now, why this is so important is if you're not familiar with Cardano DeFi, there aren't really much for off-ramps, all right? And what that means is that when people are buying and removing from exchanges, that means that they're typically putting it in cold storage, hot storage, wherever it may be, but they're not offloading it to stables. They're not sending it to exchanges. And what that means is that people have essentially bought and parked all this ADA that has been accumulated during this time, and they're removing it from exchanges where the highest amount of volume takes place. So what tends to happen then is when we get into these times where activity is higher and excitement is higher and people are trying to accumulate ADA, well, if there's not that much to go around, what's that going to do to price? Supply and demand, right? When there's very little demand, or very little supply and the demand is high, it causes price to absolutely rocket. There's very thin liquidity above these ranges. I keep mentioning this and people keep ignoring it, and that's fine because in times of low volume where there isn't much excitement, it's not going to impact price. But when things get lively, ADA can do a 4x in a very short period of time, maybe a 10x in a short period of time. All right. This isn't to guarantee your financial advice, but it's simple supply and demand. It's not complicated. Just as a reference for everyone, since February of 2021, average ADA price, 62 cents. So if you've seen billions of dollars removed from exchanges and ADA's, $22 billion market cap, is that right? I got to scroll all the way back up. I got ahead of myself. $22 billion market cap. You're starting to see a lot of that supply go bye-bye. All right. So yeah, there is huge potential with ADA itself to become a millionaire. But I think a real overlooked part of Cardano itself is all these projects within the Cardano ecosystem. So this isn't to highlight any specific Cardano project. There are a lot of good ones. A lot of them have even gone multi-chain too. They're trying to expand and really garner a lot of attention. And when we look at the Cardano ecosystem in general, the market caps are incredibly low. All right. What I mean by that is the largest market cap from a project within Cardano currently is snek, a meme coin, $195 million market cap. When we look at all these assets in crypto, that barely makes it on to page 2. Okay. That is all the way down here. That's why I was scrolled so far down. Okay. Snek right here is kind of around 185th overall in crypto. And it continues to go down from there. World Mobile Token, $129 million market cap. And you even make it down to the top 10 slot here. There are assets that are only a $15 million market cap that are in the top 10 of the Cardano ecosystem. That's a lot of potential. Why I'm saying that is, what big things is Cardano missing right now? Major stable coins, a plethora of daily active users, additional liquidity. And I've said many times before that the latter part of this market cycle is a time where we can see that stuff actually come online. We obviously know that there are discussions already surrounding Cardano and major stablecoin integration, whether that's RLUSD, whether that's the joint venture between Hedera and Cardano, whether that is a major stable that's already established. That is a flip of a switch that could bring liquidity to the Cardano ecosystem. Bitcoin OS, Cardano becoming the smart contract layer for Bitcoin. You could see a huge spillover of that liquidity from within Bitcoin entering the Cardano ecosystem and booming a lot of these projects, right? That is how you get more active addresses. Excuse me. That is how you get more liquidity to enter the ecosystem. That is how you see a lot of these projects start to flourish and boom. Another thing that hasn't really been happening, listing of Cardano native tokens on centralized exchanges. There are all these different pathways where you can see the Cardano ecosystem go on a major boom. And I've said many times, again, it's going to be a late market cycle thing. But right now, this is where there is huge potential. Some of these coins within Cardano, you are probably going to see do at least a 10x, if not 20, 30, 40, 50x for some of them. All right. I'm not saying they're all going to do that. I'm not saying that, snek's going to run to a $10 billion market cap, but there is so much potential because Cardano is frankly untapped at this point. Okay. And I forget where I was going with this. I lost my train of thought, but this is something that frankly is going to print millionaires left and right. As long as things continue to go the way they're going, as long as we continue to see these steps forward in terms of Cardano, I would not be surprised by many of you here that are currently within the Cardano ecosystem being able to retire early. All right. Now, this isn't to guarantee, this isn't to blow smoke up your ass or anything like that. It's the reality of it. Cardano is very quiet overall from an ecosystem standpoint. Yes, there's big development going on. Yes, we're making major strides forward in terms of tech. Yes, there are discussions about major partnerships and integrations taking place right now. But Cardano retail has frankly been lagging. And some people see that as a detriment, and they're looking at it in the completely wrong way. It is a huge opportunity. Okay. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Yes, I think we're talking about ADA millionaires. We're talking about millionaires from within the Cardano ecosystem, but understand that this is going to take time. It takes time for people to realize what is being built here. It takes time for the FOMO to set in, for people to start chasing what is here now. Okay. But I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you think that Cardano is going to print massive amounts of millionaires as time goes on? I think we have the opportunity to become one of the most active ecosystems, if not the most active ecosystem in all of crypto. But have a great day. Show your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.